Welcome back. This is the show that you've all been waiting for since the last one. And let's get into it. Trump delivered a disastrous, in every sense of the word, the content, the tech problems, his wife's reaction, speech that we've seen in quite some time. So we'll go through a bunch of these different clips, but let's start with little moments that tell you so much. I saw one account posted, Donald Trump's lying so hard at the UN, Melania can't even look at him. Let's see what this clip's all about.
Prices are down, grocery prices are down, mortgage rates are down, and inflation has been defeated. The only thing that's up is the stock market, which just hit
right here, this picture tells you 1,000 words. She can't even fake interest or admiration in what her husband is saying there. Wowza. It wasn't just her. You can see Zelensky here, a photo of him that tells you a whole story. Just in that little moment while Trump was talking, you had this guy's reaction. And then you had this photo of Trump just to kind of warm you up to this speech. Melania's not having it. Trump apparently is having something troubling. And then Caroline Leavitt posted, President Trump, this is how she laid the groundwork. Trump will be taking the stage shortly at the United Nations General Assembly. This will be one of his biggest foreign policy speeches yet. The world is going to see what American strength looks like. The globalists will be on notice. Tune in. So a substantive foreign policy speech is what she set up for us. Let's start with this first clip. While we go through this segment, please do remember to subscribe to the show. That's the way where you don't have to pay any money, but you can still support the work that we do by clicking that subscribe button below the videos wherever you're watching. Here is Trump very irritated at I guess, tech problems that he was experiencing.
Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
I love how he's like, and I can deliver this speech with no teleprompter. And then he's just waiting for the teleprompter to start. All right. I saw I don't have it, but a photo of his speech. For this reason, you usually have a backup speech written on sheets of paper in front of you so you can look down and do that. And in his speech, like how he thinks the words are in these big, bold groceries, inflation, like these huge, bold words for him. But I guess he still wanted the teleprompter. Then you have him saying this, even before the speech started, there was a different technical glitch.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood.
Melania's I thought that was from the clip. I was like, what? He said that? Melania's like, thank you. Yes, I am in good shape. Thank you. And he's like, and so am I. And she's like, okay, well, what the heck? That's an insult to me.
And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
That sounds like he's setting up a t-shirt. All I got from the United Nations was, those all I got from blank was, and then it's all I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady was in good shape, she would have fallen. She's in great shape. We both in good shape. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the UN, a bad escalator, bad teleprompter. That'd be a good shirt. I think that would be a good shirt if you could fit all that text on there. Now, what he's talking about is, as they were arriving to this speech, the escalator did indeed have a mishap and stop as they were getting on it.
President Trump. Schumer.
So it stops and they just don't move for a second. What do we do? And then they realize they can just walk up it, as normal people know. And a right-wing account, Johnny MAGA, responded to that clip. Let me say, just before you see this, podcast listeners, we've all been, or at least can all imagine, getting on an escalator and then it's stopping. They didn't fall forward. They just kind of went, oh, that's awkward. It wasn't anything severe. And sometimes escalators stop for whatever reason. A safety flag goes off and it has to stop. But a right-wing account, Johnny MAGA, had a different take, saying, in all seriousness, if the stopped escalator was an act of sabotage, whoever is responsible must be severely punished. Melania lost her balance and had to quickly grab the rails. The president and first lady could have fallen and been injured. Let's watch again just to see. It didn't seem that scary to me, but okay, Johnny MAGA says it could have been sabotage, and that leads one to ponder, what is the theory here? Imagine someone being like, all right, it's time. We're going to take out the first. This is just, it's so absurd is why I'm saying it. We're going to take out the first lady. Sir, what an insane suggestion. How would we even do that? All right, she's going to be at the UN. We sabotage the escalator. Oh my gosh, like we make it crumble so then they fall down into the void that's in there with all the moving parts. No, we'll just have it stop. And then what? That's it. That could do some damage. What is the theory? That this was some conspiracy to hurt them? Doesn't seem very logical to me. Then Trump went in front of the world's countries. It's a big world, bigger world than most of the worlds, as Trump has said, and says your countries are going to hell.
You have to end it now. See, I can tell you, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've...
That's a strange message. Okay. Then he was upset with the cows being slandered.
By the way, it's nonsense. You know, it's interesting. In the United States, we have still radicalized environmentalists, and they want the factories to stop. Everything should stop. No more cows. We don't want cows anymore. I guess they want to kill all the cows. They want to do things that are just unbelievable, and you have it too. But you know, we have a border strong.
So this next part's even weirder somehow. This is at the UN General Assembly. Some of the most iconic speeches have been delivered here. And Trump's talking about radical environmentalists want to kill all the cows, for number one. And then, after saying that, which I've never heard the suggestion from environmentalists raising the alarm of the environmental impact of cows. I've never heard them say, kill all the cows. Usually they're concerned with the well-being of the cows. So it would be a strange, this is for the good, this is for your own good. I've never heard that. But then he goes on to talk about how borders, you have a border very strong, but you also have this amorphous other thing. Let's see if we can figure out.
We have a border strong, and we have a shape, and that shape doesn't just go straight up. That shape is amorphous when it comes to the atmosphere. And if we had the most clean air, and I think we do, we have very clean air. We have the cleanest air we've had in many, many years. But the problem is that other countries, like China, which has air that's a little bit rough, it blows. And no matter what you're doing down here, the air up here tends to get very dirty because it comes in from other countries.
We can stop the illegal immigrants, but we can't stop the illegal air. They're coming across the border. So dirty air. This reminded me of Herschel Walker, the Republican candidate for Senate a little while ago in Georgia, explaining a similar thought that he had.
He got rid of the pipeline. Getting rid of the pipeline, getting rid of our energy. Start this downfall because we need energy for everything. Do y'all know that? And they were talking about the Green New Deal. climate change. I'm going to help you all with that real quickly, and I'm going to do it in the Wrightsville way so you can understand what I'm saying. We, in America, have some of the cleanest air and cleanest water of anybody in the world. That's right. So what we do is we're going to put from the Green New Deal millions or billions of dollars cleaning our good air up. So all of a sudden China and India ain't putting nothing in there cleaning that situation up. So all that bad air is still there. But since we don't control the air, our good air decided to float over to China, bad air. So when China gets our good air, their bad air gotta move. So it moves over to our good air space. And now we gotta clean that back up.
Yeah, so I mean, that's sort of something to think about, I think, from time to time, to understand the problem. I don't know how they don't ponder. You have very specific examples. Some of you live in cities where this is an experience you've had, where the pollution in the air, the smog that you can see and you are inhaling can be very present. And then your city specifically, or your geopolitical location a little bit at large, changes its policies. One thing we saw during COVID was this effect. And then that area all of a sudden looks different in how much pollution you can actually witness and that then your body's inhaling. And so the policies of a certain location do contribute to how clean the air is for you specifically. It's not just all blowing around equally. Now, there is a bigger point, which is it's true we all contribute to what we're putting into the atmosphere. And so it is a global effort, for sure. But us being really bad is more harmful. If you go to high pollution areas in the United States, you're going to be breathing in more pollution than lower pollution areas, even though we're all in this amorphous thing we call a country where the air blows. But we should also be leading on the broader impact, given how humongously we contribute to the environment. And then, try to leverage the other countries to do the same. But while we wait, because we think that China's bad air is going to come over here, it's going to come smuggle itself across the border, that doesn't mean that in the meantime, I want horrible policies here that make it horrendous to be breathing in the air where I live. But maybe their argument was more coherent, I don't know, than this.
The United States is now thriving like never before. We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work. They're too expensive. They're not strong enough to fire up the plants that you need to make your country great. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate.
What did a windmill ever do to you? He doesn't talk about it like an inanimate object. It's like he got really slighted by Mr. Windmill at some point in his life.
And so bad, so expensive to operate. And they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust and rot. Most expensive energy ever conceived, and it's actually energy. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies.
Okay, so renewable energy is cheaper, actually. And I don't want to hear a word about subsidizing so we're on the forefront of renewable energy industries. I don't want to hear a word from the people who are totally fine with the billions and billions of dollars we've subsidized the fossil fuel industry, then all of a sudden having a problem with investing in renewable energy. At one point, he did make a false claim. Let's see here. My clips are going bonkers. But a false claim about China getting rid of their windmills or something.
I just want to address one more. He claimed that China...
This is just... What? Why are the tech problems impacting me too?
Builds a lot of wind turbines and manufactures them for others, but refuses to use it itself, barely uses wind power. In fact, China is the world leader in the use of wind power. It is building additional wind power in China far faster than the pace at which the U.S. is building.
So that's a lie too, that Trump will tell. Then again, at a foreign policy speech in front of the UN, he starts making false claims about his popularity.
The American public agrees with it. I mean, I was very proud to see this morning I have the highest poll numbers I've ever had. Part of it is because of what we've done on the border. I guess the other part is what we've done in the economy.
His poll numbers are struggling right now. He's flipping it on its head. Then he talks about designating drug cartels as forests.
I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as forests, foreign
as forests. Okay, this is just so embarrassing.
If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm...
In this speech, he was wrong about a bunch of things. So that statement can't possibly be the case. He said this again.
Others. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years.
He's just pulling these out of his rear end. He was like, 2 of them, 31 years, 2 of them. Well, one was 36. Daniel Dale, a lot of you have been asking, what does he even mean when he says that? He brings that up a lot. Daniel Dale went through kind of how he's distorting and lying about conflicts to take credit for either, well, there's 3 options. Number 1, a peace agreement of some kind that was not a war, but that he had no involvement in, but he takes credit for. Number 2 is maybe there was like some efforts at diplomacy, but a conflict is still going on, but he says it was resolved. Number 3 is something, not an all-out war, but something was resolved and the U.S. had some role in it, and maybe there was years of U.S. diplomacy involved, and he just takes wholesale credit for that as well.
There are a lot of issues there. So first of all, some of the conflicts he's counting as wars he resolved were not actually wars at all. For example, Egypt and Ethiopia have argued over an Ethiopian dam project on the Blue Nile, but they were not in a raging war in which thousands of people were being killed. Similarly, Trump has claimed that he prevented conflict between Serbia and Kosovo from resuming, but they were not in a raging war either. In addition, the conflict involving the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring Rwanda has not actually been resolved. We have good reporting from just a day ago talking about how hostilities have continued despite the peace deal that was signed under President Trump. And then in addition to that, India denies that President Trump was responsible for mediating its ceasefire, its truce with neighboring Pakistan. So a whole lot of issues with just that one claim.
So it's not that there hasn't been any U.S. diplomacy that's been helpful in any conflict worldwide under Trump. Surely there is. And the U.S. does play a role in mediating and involving itself very frequently in global conflicts. But he just kind of, anytime there's something that cools off, even if it's just a little bit, or if it's not at all, then he just says it was because of him. And if you're a supporter of his, I just did a debate with one of them, and she said, well, he solved 7 wars. And I said, list them. And she said, I'll give it to you later. Obviously, because you never hear him list them. He cited some of the ones Trump specifically cites. All of those claims kind of fall apart. And I'm rooting for him to solve wars, obviously. But then when he does try, he spits out things like Azerbaijan and Albania, which makes no sense in 2 ways. So if he can present us a coherent list and then we examine if it holds up to scrutiny, then maybe we can have a better conversation. Fox News, you just saw some of the moments I found notable. I'm sure there were less controversial, less goofy ones, but this is how Fox summarized the event.
President Trump has been speaking at the United Nations General Assembly in New York City. He unfurled raw truth to countries in attendance there and to the rest of the world. And moments from now, the president is set to hold a meeting with the UN Secretary General.
He unfurled raw truth. That's always how they try to characterize him, just rambling. He was off script and bold in his telling of his thoughts to the world. And it's like, that sounds cool, but then you look at the clips, they want to kill the cows. It's like that. It doesn't match what you're wanting us to have as a takeaway. And then afterwards, he posted, "It was a great honor to speak before the United Nations. I believe the speech was very well received. It focused very much on energy and immigration. I have been talking about this for a long period of time, and this forum was the absolute best from the standpoint of making these two important statements. I hope everybody gets to watch it. The teleprompter was broken, and the escalator came to a sudden halt as we were riding up to the podium. But both of those events probably made the speech more interesting than it would have been otherwise. It's always an honor to speak at the United Nations, even if their equipment is somewhat faulty. Make America great again." So I think he felt a little insecure too and had to justify the mishap. So I don't know about you, but that doesn't make me so comfortable, as he would say, from the standpoint of the US president on the world stage.